Let me stick my tongue out. You big cunt. You big cunt. You big cunt. Let me lick it. Lick it. Lick it. Let me lick your pretty piggy cunt. Pretty big cunt. Pretty big cunt. I made your pretty big clit. I'm like a tuning fork, baby.
Not bad.
Suck my juicy cock. I'll come over you. I'll come over and you can suck it. Suck it. Okay.
Listen, you pervert, why don't you go over to Lambakai? They could use a little of this.
You piggy cunt. You want my fat cock too?
Oh, why don't you go find a wall socket and stick your tongue in it? That'll give you a charge.
I'll stick my tongue up your pretty pussy.
You fucking creep!
I'm going to kill you.
Welcome back to the Haddonfield Horrors podcast, where we review horror movies and horror franchises. I'm Mark.
I'm Tawan.
I'm Maria.
And today we're reviewing Black Christmas, released in 1974, directed by Bob Clark and written by A. Roy Moore. Maria, can you give the people the plot summary?
A group of sorority sisters receive threatening phone calls and are eventually stalked and murdered by a deranged killer during the Christmas season.
Well, that was short and sweet, but direct to the point. Now, Black Christmas. Now, this is known as being one of like the first, or like even like the first like technically a slasher film. And rewatch, like, I've seen this movie a few times before, and I know I saw the remake, and all the bad like things I had to say about this movie, I realized were all about the remake and not this movie. Like, this movie is like, it's kind of slow at times, it's kind of quiet, but it's actually really good. Like, there was so much happening outside of like them just being stalked by a serial killer. Like, all these random like soap opera story plots going on at the same fucking time. There was a lot happening. But what about you, Tuan? What are your thoughts on Black Christmas '74?
So prior to watching this, I had only seen the 2006 remake of Black Christmas, and never saw this one. Honestly, I mean, I knew like years ago at this point that it was a remake, but about 2006 when that came out, I didn't know it was a remake of anything. So I only saw that one, but I never had any um, want or need to go back to watch this one. But now that when we got to it, and once I actually was watching this, I wasn't expecting it to be as slow as it was compared to the remake. And that's just because then I saw the remake first. So I was expecting it to kind of be in the same vein. But I know also it's like, 70s movies, they were a little bit slower paced in how they kind of went about things with the slashers and like the setups for them. So that's a bit understandable. But at least for me, when I was watching it, um, when we got the first instance of someone getting snatched up in the house, I'm thinking, this was all going to happen in the same night as it kind of did in the remake, with the way that all went, with the way that all happened. So once the first girl got kidnapped in the house, and then it went cut to the next day, and we still got story going on. I was like, oh, okay, this is definitely different, and I just wasn't expecting it to kind of go the way that it did. But I didn't think that it was bad. But I don't know, a lot of the in between, I didn't really care about. Um, I feel like I really just cared about the beginning and end portion once Jess, was doing her final girl act for the most part.
What about you, Maria? What are your thoughts on Black Christmas?
I mean, I definitely, honestly, I didn't really have a lot of expectations for the movie, especially since it was like from like the 1970s. But it did drag on, but I did think it was a good movie. Like, I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Um, yeah, there was, I feel like there was definitely some plot points that could have been cut out. It didn't, I feel like it definitely didn't have to be as long as it was. Um, and I mean, I thought it was I thought it was interesting, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know if this was based off of like Ted Bundy because it was very like similar, from like what he did to like, uh, you know. But I mean, I liked the movie. I thought it was very interesting. It definitely caught my attention. I mean, it did lose me here and there. Um, but for the most part, I don't know. I liked it. I wasn't expecting much to be honest. Like, I, I guess I thought it was gonna be just like your basic slasher movie, but I don't know. I thought it was good, and I liked that you don't really know who it was. He's just some crazy guy that's just killing people for some reason.
Yeah, I did like that aspect of it too.
Well, let's talk about some of those kills that they showed us. What was a kill that stood out for you? I would say for me, the only kill that really stood out for me was Barbara. Yes, Barb's kill, like in the bedroom when he like picked up that was that like a
The
horse
glass
statue or something?
unicorn.
What was? Yes, like that whole like sequence, and it was like cutting back and forth with the carolers, like that whole scene was like insane. But also how loud, like how big is the sorority house, and how loud were those fucking carolers singing that you didn't hear her being murdered
No,
in
I
her bedroom?
swear to you, I was thinking the exact same thing. I'm like, they are loud as hell. Like, why are
Like
they just yelling?
I was like, you can, and the doors open too, like no one hears this. Like, okay, cool, whatever. The Peter kill, I didn't rewatching it this time. I completely forgot about like how it ended. But like Peter's like death was just so like anticlimactic because I was like, I know he didn't do it. Like I know it's not. Like I just knew it wasn't him. Like because I don't know. I'll get into it later. But like that just like took me out. I was like, oh shit, he's dead. I don't know what happened to the dad at the end. He kind of just like fell out. But like whatever. But what about you, Maria? What are some kills that stood out for you?
Um, I guess this wasn't really a kill, but it was more like the first girl that died. I forgot what her name was, but like, but like him, like he wrapped her up, and then he was just doing all these like. First of all, she looked super scary wrapped up like that.
Yeah.
Like it was very creepy. And then on top of that, he was doing all these weird things to her to her. It was just odd. It was so odd. Him treating her like a doll, I'm assuming, or like a baby, and she's just there, um, you know, in forever in like a scream. You know what I mean? And that was creepy. The other kill that I liked was the kill of the house mother. I don't remember what her name was either. But like I
Mrs.
mean, I
Mac.
know you don't really see it, huh?
Mrs. Mac.
Yeah, her. Like you don't really see the kill, but you hear it, how it kind of goes. I'm assuming it goes into her mouth or whatever it is, and it just pulls her up. But you hear that, and so I don't know. I thought that was a good kill too. Um, yeah, I think that's it actually.
What about you, Tawan? What was some kills that stood out?
I would also say the kill of the house mother was a good one for me. I kind of did like that whole sequence of her leading up to her kill because I didn't know like what exactly was gonna happen there. Like I didn't know that the hook was gonna like go in and then hang her up. I thought like he was either gonna like tie it around her neck or just let it loose and it was just gonna like smack her in the head or something. So I thought that was like a pretty good kill. And also um, Barb's as well with the glass unicorn. Just the way that they shot that sequence, it was pretty good how they did that. Uh, yeah, I think those were like my main two.
Yeah, there weren't that many kills. I mean, there were a handful, but they were all kind of basic, or like all kind of just got lost in like the scare factor because the killer was like making weird sounds and being like very crazy.
Hmm.
But I want to talk about the phone calls because I don't know about you guys, but after that first weird phone call, I would have already called the cops. Like something's not right here. He's calling the phones. He's talking to people. He's like the things he said on that fucking phone call. Like there's no way I would have been like, okay, we're all gonna go to sleep now and just like separate. Like no. But what about you guys? What do you guys think about the phone call and the character's reaction to those phone calls? Tuan.
Um, when they were first happening, like I wouldn't have thought much of it, but also like they were staying on the line a long time, like listening to it. Like I feel like at least just me personally, if no one's saying anything of like necessity on the phone in like the first like 5-10 seconds, I'm hanging up. I don't know. I don't care about hearing no weird stuff. Like I'm hanging up. But they were, kind of, listening and on it, which it was a part of the story, and was a bit, was giving little tidbits from like Billy, um, and things of that matter. But if I was in like their position, while yes, they did the right thing by eventually having the police listen to the phone and figure out for one where the calls are coming from and that stuff. I mean, I just wouldn't listen to it. I don't know. Like there's not much you can really do. Is like back then. I don't even know. I don't even know if you could block people, block people on those phones in the 70s. So
You couldn't. That wasn't a thing.
yeah, so like they really didn't have no choice. But I would have just hung up. I wouldn't have like persisted in listening to that and creeping myself out.
I feel
Maria, what
like
about you?
I feel like during that time you could have definitely like unhooked the cable or something, you know? I feel like they definitely were able to like disconnect the phone. Um and yeah, I guess the fact that like they all stood around each other while listening to the phone call was like and then I think I forgot what her name was, but the girl in the beginning who was also like antagonizing him like on the phone.
Hmm.
It's like I mean, okay, that scene I think was a little chilling because he was saying all these like weird things and just making a bunch of weird sounds, and then he just goes, "I'm gonna kill you," and then he just hangs up. Like that would have scared the shit out of me.
No, yeah, that was crazy.
I was like, "Oh my god! Like we gotta get out of here."
Like, damn, not 0 to 100.
It for no for but like for real though, like that got so serious so fast, and they still didn't take it seriously. But like I don't know. I mean, I definitely wouldn't have picked up the phone, or I would have said something because I think like the girls were saying how they've been getting those calls. Like somebody has been doing that to them, and it's like they just weren't taking it seriously, and I guess even the cops weren't taking the girls seriously. When all that stuff was happening. So, I mean, I don't know. I thought the phone calls were an interesting. Um, they were interesting. Because he would kill somebody and then he would make a phone call, or was it the other way around? He would call and somebody would die. I forgot, but either way, like those phone calls are now like part of like the murders. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like when you someone saying I'm gonna kill you over the phone, like that is just like we are not about to separate and go to sleep after this, guys. Like, and you've been getting these phone calls, like. So you telling me they were getting phone calls before the movie started, and yet no one thought to get any protection. They didn't think to get campus security. They all just went to sleep back in the bed like nothing happened. No, like I can't. That's insane. But let's move on to the characters. Now, first up, we have the house mother, Mrs. Mack. It's Mrs. Mack, yeah, Mrs. McHenry, Mrs. Mack. I like this character. She provided some comic relief and kind of gave that parental side that we rarely get. And her death scene with the hook, I didn't like it, but I thought overall the character was good for where she was at. I knew she was going to be killed. It was just one of those things. Old people are always off in these movies. But what about you, Tuan? What did you think about Miss Mac?
I thought she was fun. Like, she definitely was giving, like just fun, like motherly figure. Like, yes, that's what she's supposed to do. Like, she's the house mother, but she could have been like super strict or anything like that. But she was like really fun with the girls, like joking around with them. I mean, she obviously like cared for them as well. But I also thought that it was just hilarious that she had like random liquor like stored across the house. That was just funny to me. But um, besides that, the little um, short scenes that she had with the dad of Claire was pretty funny as well. Like her trying to kind of like cover up um, how chill the house is because the dad was like, "Oh, I don't think this is like a good place for like my Claire to be," or something like this. But it was just funny the way that they were kind of going. It it was just like kind of that bit of comedy that I wasn't really expecting to get out of this type of movie. So I thought that was pretty chill. But yeah, I did like her character, and I just thought like she was a nice little fun addition, and I did like her death scene. Um, I thought the whole like sequence of it was like pretty good because she was just very unassuming to what was going on, and then she caught it at the last second, and then was immediately taken out.
Well, Maria, what did you think about Lieutenant Fuller?
Was that the main detective dude?
With the brown jacket.
Well, they suck. Like the whole fucking police department sucks. I cannot believe they fucking left Jess at the end. Like everybody in the fucking house was gone. Like, okay, I understand that like the dad has fainted and stuff, but like everybody left. Like you're not gonna stay with the victim, the fucking survivor. I don't know. I thought that was so stupid. And then the fact that like he didn't even believe him at first. They were not taking like anything serious. I don't know. The police sucks in this movie. They were not. I don't know what the hell. they thought they were doing and what protocols they thought they had going on, but they suck.
What about you, Tawan? What are your thoughts on Lieutenant Fuller?
No, I definitely agree, Maria. Like they were trash. Like they were not taking the situation seriously at all. And I I know that yes, he came across as creepy. What's his name, Peter? But that girl is telling you that this is not what's going on here, and it's somebody else like messing with them. Like yes, he like the officers was trying to put like two and two together to try to figure something out, but this was happening like way ahead of time, and the evidence is already stacking up for them. So they were not like really doing what they were supposed to for these girls to help them out in any way. They put like the one cop on the house who probably wasn't doing anything, and that's how he got killed. And they just weren't they they just weren't doing what they were supposed to do, and they were kind of downplaying the situation as a whole for these girls. I don't really think they. I really don't think they ever had a chance with the help of the police, and obviously, as we can see, watching the movie, they didn't get there until it was too late anyway.
Yeah, it kind of just pissed me off how he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go talk to the press at the end." Like, you did anything to help this situation. You were talking about fellatio jokes at the fucking precinct with your fucking cop friends. You weren't helping these guys, these poor women. But Maria, what are your thoughts on Barb,
Barb was.
the one who was killed during the caroling?
Oh, I mean, I didn't really have any thoughts about her. She was just kind of there. Well, not, okay, well, she wasn't. Um, I'm assuming she was also supposed to bring some like comedic effect, just like the house mother. Um, but I mean, I think out of all the girls, she probably had the most personality, to be honest. Like even Jess, I didn't even like ping Jess as like a final girl until she was like literally the last girl left, And so yeah, so I mean I liked Barb, but that's pretty much it, to be honest.
For me, it was kind of distracting seeing the actress who played Barb because I mean I know her as what's her name, as Lois Lane from the Superman movies. So it was kind of like it's Lois Lane. It's not some random chick who was saying all these words. Oh my god! But I feel like, well, because from what I was seeing, doing some research, Barb was also meant to be an like one of the main girls. We were always supposed to think it was either going to be Jess or Barb at the end. And to be honest, they were both kind of very stale. One didn't really stand out in front more than the other. I mean, Barb had an amazing kill scene, and that's about all I can really say about her. But what about you, Tuan? What are your thoughts on Barb?
Yeah, I do agree with Maria that she did seem to have the most like personality out of everyone. Um, she had those little comedic beats and was kind of like the dirty sister in a way, not like physically dirty, but like in the way that she was like talking in her conversations. Like I kind of feel like in this time frame they would have like a specific character kind of like that, um, and it wouldn't be like everyone just because of the way the audiences like would reflect on certain people back then. So I could definitely just see her kind of being that like comedic, like dirty jokish type of person. So it kind of makes a little sense as to why she was the way she was as far as Barb, but she was funny, and like when she was like on the screen, either like talking to a character or something, she had like um, pretty decent lines, and her death scene was one of the better ones as well with the glass unicorn.
Yeah, I feel like outside of the interaction she had with Billy on the phone when he was like, "I'm gonna kill you," and her actual death scene, there was nothing really that like made me gravitate towards Barb. And I can probably say the same thing about Pete. Well, going to Peter, I from his like second scene when not his second scene, the scene where he was pretty much he actually called Jess a bitch, a selfish bitch because she wanted to have an abortion because this man heard that she was pregnant and he was already having her stay at home with a kid, cooking and cleaning while he was off getting his career. Like he had already envisioned this woman's next 18 years of her life and just expected her to just go with the fucking flow. And when he started to like get crazy and upset after she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have this abortion," I was like, "Damn, they're gonna make Peter the fall guy. He's gonna be who we're supposed to think is the killer all along, and then it's not gonna be because if they were going with the whole he snapped after she told him she was having an abortion. Well, you can't make us believe that when there were already what was it, one or two deaths before the whole pregnancy thing was revealed. Do you guys remember?
It was one. I think it was whatever her name
It
was.
was that very first kill, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like if you wanted to like fake us out and have us believe it could be Peter, then you should have saved that first murder for the night that he found out that he wasn't going to actually be a dad. So it kind of just like
Yeah,
felt it felt like something was missing. They were trying to lead us somewhere with Peter, but they didn't land it. But Tawan, what about you? What are your thoughts on Peter?
Peter was weird. Like he was giving me creep vibes the entire time. Now I never once thought that he was like the killer, and I don't think we were supposed to think he was. I feel like that was more so in the movie. They were like, the police and stuff were thinking that, but that he was just kind of generally a weird guy, and I don't even see like why Jess was interested in him. Like it did. I didn't. Nothing came across as like a redeemable partner or boyfriend. And even when she told him that she was, pregnant and was gonna most likely not keep it, he was like, "What about me?" And I was like, "Okay, he's one of those." Also, yes, and also it is the '70s, so like it isn't it probably wasn't as like normalized to get an abortion, even though it's getting harder now as well. But but even then, like his decision and it really doesn't matter as much. But also, yeah, just his character overall didn't um he didn't come across as like a real person. I guess you could say like he came across as kind of a caricature of a weird guy, and um every every time he was on the screen for me, he was just like being suspect, which is weird because it's not like a who done it. Like we're supposed to think he's the killer, but um, it was kind of given that vibe with his character that we're supposed to like suspect him of something. I kind of felt like, but I never really got that, and the ending scene as well. I feel like it was more for Jess than us. That ending scene where he was like in the basement, um, you know, where she was, and then she like killed him. It seems. Um, even then, yes, he still was like down there looking very, very weird and creepy. But I don't think that Jess was ever actually in any danger with him around. He was just a weird guy.
Well, Maria, what are your thoughts on Jess?
The final girl, right?
Yes.
I don't remember any of these people. I don't know why. They just
You see what I
nobody.
mean? That's what I said. Like I forgot everybody's name.
Everybody just nobody just stood out. I mean, Jess. I swear I did not know Jess was supposed to be the final girl until she was being chased around the house. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Nobody stood out to me. I guess I only really knew Jess because she was, the pregnant girl. But that was about it. It's not really like, I mean, good for her. I'm glad she survived. I feel like she was smart with that. Okay. Oh, well, she should have left when they fucking told her to. And she was like, I'm gonna go upstairs. um, but like, I don't. She was just very bland for a final girl, to be honest. And then like the ending scene when she's like hugging Peter just looked so weird. Cause I guess they're supposed to fake you out that she was dead, but like she wasn't. Um, until she probably actually dies way at the end. Um, but I don't know. Honestly, I don't really have any real thoughts about Jess. You know, she was just kind of there until she became the girl that survived.
Tuan, what are your thoughts about Jess?
Jess lost me as soon as she went back, as soon as she went upstairs and didn't leave that house when the people told her to leave because the call was coming from inside. Like she lost me from that point on. Like, girl, why? I'm being so real. Like, I understand you don't know the status of your friend, but if the call coming from inside the house, you'd have called your friend name and then come downstairs. I'm going out. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I'm not going upstairs. She lost me with that, but um, she gave us a little chase sequence. Once the killer popped out, she gave us a little chase sequence, and then we get to the end. But besides her end of the movie activities, I will kind of agree with Maria that she didn't, even though she was like our final girl, and we got like a lot of you know little story beats with her, like with the pregnancy and her future with say like Peter and stuff. She really, they really didn't give much to the character. I felt, and I feel like that's probably why I wasn't messing with this movie as a whole compared to the remake. I know a lot of people don't like the remake, but it was kind of cut and dry, and I felt like they were trying to do a lot more. I feel like they were trying to do a lot more with the characters here, which is not a bad thing. You could definitely do that, but um, I didn't feel that some of them like had the what's the word I'm looking for? Some of them didn't really have like the character behind them to really do as much as I kind of thought. So Jess was fine. Like she was definitely serviceable as a final girl. Did she give me like that energy? Not really. It gave me more dumb than final girl.
What are your thoughts on Billy, the killer?
Billy be sounding like a freak on the phone. Like at the beginning, like he was a whole freak on the phone with them.
Not afraid.
Like, why is he getting freaky on the line, and then they just listening to it, not hanging it up. Like, It made no sense, but I do like that the character Billy wasn't really, explained. It does make it a bit more creepier, which is why I do see, um, people have some gripes with the '06 remake and how it kind of delved into the backstory of Billy. Um, but in this one, you just have stuff going on, and we like you as the viewer know that he's in the house with them, and you just don't know when he's going to come out and do something. And it's even more effective because we don't actually see like a full like body shot of him or like a full facial shot. Most we get is like an eyeball or a body part, and that made it way more effective for the character. And that was pretty cool how they did that. But um, I don't think I know after watching the movie, I kind of looked into it a bit and saw that there was, like tidbits in some of like the calls and what Billy was kind of doing with in like the attic. But I don't know if I was really picking up on a lot of that to kind of hone in on the background of Billy. So I don't know if I could speak further on that. But I mean, I thought he was like an effective like killer for us, especially with how like secretive it was, and um, we can still see that he was basically alive. Yes.
Hello.
Um,
Uh,
I don't
it
really
was
have any
on
thoughts
you for
about Billy. I
Billy.
mean, I liked the concept that you did not see him basically, and the killings were done from his point of view. Um, I okay, because I watch a lot of true crime, and I thought it was so interesting because they made him sound so crazy, and but clearly he fucking wasn't. Like, yeah, he was on the phone doing his thing on the phone, and he was over here dressing up whatever that first girl's name was until like giving her a teddy bear like a doll, and then like he seemed like such a like disorganized killer, but he really wasn't though. Like he was like he knew where to hide. He knew how to like okay, well the cops in the movie were very incompetent anyways, but he knew how to not be detected. He knew when not to come out, and like you know what I mean? Like I feel like even though he seemed really nuts, he just really kind of wasn't. I mean, I'm assuming he's the one who killed the girl, like the little girl in the park. Um, but yeah. I mean, I liked that you didn't see who it was. I liked that we didn't really get a real, closed out ending. Um, yeah. I mean, I guess Billy was cool. I liked the concept of Billy, if that makes any sense.
We've come to the end, but we're not at the end yet because Tuan, can you please give the people the behind the scenes info and facts?
That I can. So, Black Christmas had a budget of $686,000, and it brought in a box office of 1.3 million in Canada. Some interesting facts: the film was originally titled Silent Night, Evil Night in the United States and retitled Stranger in the House on television screenings. There's the short film funded through indie. Let me read that over. There's a short fan film funded through an Indiegogo campaign that was released on YouTube and Vimeo with the title It's Me, Billy in May 2021. It is billed as an unofficial sequel to the original film and picks up the story 50 years later. Black Christmas eventually gained a cult following and is notable for being one of the earliest slasher films. It went on to inspire other slasher films, the biggest one of all being John Carpenter's Halloween. A psychic convinced Olivia Hussey, who played Jess, to star in the movie. One actor was fired from the movie for a tragic reason. For the role of police Lieutenant Kenneth Fuller, Clark originally wanted Oscar-winning actor Edmund O'Brien, who agreed to do the film. When O'Brien arrived in Toronto to begin work, though, Clark and Arbit noticed something was wrong. According to Arbit, O'Brien had trouble remembering where he was, and once declared that he was going to go back to his hotel room while they were dining together at the restaurant in another part of town. It became clear that the Alzheimer's was beginning to take hold of the veteran actor. Some of the creepy phone calls for the film were recorded with the actor standing on his head. Um, the movie was a hit in Canada, but it bombed in America at first. And Black Christmas is considered to be one of the prototypes for what will become the slasher genre, thanks to its high body count, point of view shots, and use of the final girl plot device, among other things. Some critics' reactions: the film currently sits at a 72% of Rotten Tomatoes. The New York Times called it a whodunit that raises the question as to why it was made. Film Threat called the film innovative and praised the leading actresses Olivia Hussey and Margaret. Film Threat called the film innovative and praised the leading actresses Olivia Hussey and Margot Kidder. And TV Guide awarded the film 3 out of 4 stars, writing, although strictly standard fare, the material is elevated somewhat through Clark's skillful handling of such plot devices as obscene phone calls from the killer to the girls via the upstairs phone, and a nice handle twist ending, which provides a genuine shock. Wait, so this movie is considered a whodunit?
Yep.
And interesting. I didn't get that vibe.
I think for the audience of the '70s, it's a whodunit because I mean back then you always knew who the killer was. It was
Hmm,
never really a secret about who the killer was. So,
I gotcha.
you did all the critics' reactions.
Hmm.
Oh shit. Okay. And before we close out, Tuan, Maria, do we? And before we close out, Tuan, Maria, do we cash or pass Black
I'll
Christmas
cash.
1974?
I liked the movie a
Maria?
lot more than I thought I was going to, and I really did enjoy the whole, like the whole killer perspective of it and how you never really knew who it was. And it's only barely a cash because I mean, to be honest, a lot of like the other characters were very bland. Like Jessica, I feel like was very bland, and who I don't even remember the other girls' names. They were just not. They just didn't stand out. Um, but overall, though, I did like the movie, so I'll cash.
Tuan?
Yeah, I think I know that it it has like its cultural value and stuff to like the horror landscape, but I don't see myself coming back to watch this movie and would be giving it a pass today. Um, it did have like some effective scenes, and I did like the camera work in it, especially those POV shots, um, and how they went about using those for Billy, and how we also never saw Billy as well, like that throughout the movie. But besides that, I didn't. It didn't really hold me. Like the movie is less than 100 minutes, and it still felt kind of long. And it just felt like certain parts were dragging a bit, and I don't think that it holds up for me.
And for me, I'll give it a cash. This was, I don't know, I was kind of on the fence because I agree with Maria's reasonings for cashing. I agree with Tuan's reasoning for passing, but I think it's a cash for me. I think because some of the acting's good. The I like that there's a bunch of side plots going on, and that there's like it feels like a lived-in world. I don't know. It's just it has that weird 70s feel to movies that I enjoy. I love a good 70s movie. So for that reason alone, it gets a cash. And the ending, the fact that we think we were led to believe that it was Peter, he was the bad guy, and then they just go up to the attic, and then Crazy Billy is up there with a bunch of dead bodies. It's a cash. But will Black Xmas 2006 get all of us the cash? Because I don't know. I've only seen that movie like twice, and I don't remember it much. I know that old girl is in it, and she was practically in every remake back then. Um, I forgot her name. She was on Arrow.
Yeah, I know exactly who
You
you're
know what I'm
talking
talking?
about.
Yeah, like she was in
Laurel.
like three. Yeah, she was in like three different like horror
Yeah,
remakes in the
she was
2000s.
in
Like
When a
she was in
Stranger's
them.
Calls.
Yep, in A Stranger's Call. She was in Nightmare on Elm Street. She wasn't in Halloween, or she didn't do. She did a couple. So like, it'll be good.
No, I
I've
don't think
I've
I
only
have.
seen it twice. Maria, have you seen Black Christmas 2006? Well, we're gonna be going in and seeing what's good. Join us next week as we continue this little mini festive retrospective. Good night. If you like this episode, please be sure to check out Haddonfield Horror's past reviews from big franchises like Halloween, Friday the 13th, and the Chucky franchise, or one off reviews like Us and Midsommar. You can follow Haddonfield Horrors on Instagram and TikTok, where the host posts updates and mini reviews. Full episodes are available on several podcasting platforms. If you're listening to us on YouTube, don't forget to please like and subscribe. Haddonfield Horror is produced by Mark Smart, Maria Perez, and Tuan Griffin. Edited by Mark Smart. Theme by Lethal Injections. The Haddonfield Horrors podcast is a Letters to Media production.
Should we do an intro?